Hey guys, it's Mel. I thought I would finally get a chance to before I go to work, and I filmed this before and my daughter woke up, so let's try it again. I wanted to do my personal review on the newer mini Misti. This isn't there's original one that I'm not sure the size of that one. I believe it's closer to 8.5 by 11. This is the smaller card size one. So I just thought I would give my take on it, and I had a few of you ask, so I would love to, film a video. I'm usually a lot quicker on these, but my little daughter kicks my butt between that and work. It's really hard to do anything because she's very, very high maintenance. So let's try to get into it. Hopefully she doesn't, interrupt us too much, but we shall see. So this is the mini Misti. It will come in a box. I'll go over what it comes with, then I'll go over some pros and cons, and maybe we'll do like a little sample just to kind of show you. So this is the mini Misti, the smaller version. It comes in a box. I got mine from scrapbookpal.com. I just went there because I got free shipping and I hate paying shipping. So, I figured on something a little pricey because I was going back and forth on this, and I heard some good reviews, I've heard some bad reviews, but I thought, let me try for myself. And I was going back and forth due to the simple fact that this is a little bit pricey. I think mine was $40 or $45, so to me that's a lot. And this is even the smaller one, so the bigger one's even more pricey. I didn't get a kit, I didn't get the cleaner. So far I've only cleaned it with like just a blank like cloth with a little bit of water, and it hasn't done any damage, and I think I'm going to stick with that. I'm not going to buy the special cleaner. I don't use Stays On ink in here or anything like that. All my inks kind of wash off fine with water. So for me, that's what I decided to do. So I'm not going to do a review on the cleaner because I don't have it. But so besides the box, what else you will get is obviously the mini Misti, and here's the size of it. It's about the size of an A2 size card. I'm trying to see if I have one in front of me, and I do not, but you can see the measurements on here. So then besides that, it comes with just a few sheets, not a lot, a few sheets of the graph paper. You can buy this separately if you want. I didn't do that. I don't see the need for me. And then you're going to get this little foam piece that you can remove in and out depending on what type of stamps you use. And then there's a little graph background. So this slides in there, and then you can have your paper so that you don't get ink on your actual foam piece. Then it has a ruler all the way around this way. That's going to get into my pros and cons. And then besides that, you get two of these super strong magnets, and I guess I just brought one down with me, but here's what they look like. They just look like almost like the little battery that goes in your key fob thing for your car. They can store on the back. You just want to make sure that they don't clang, the two clang together, because they can chip. They're super, super strong, and they will like suck to each other. So, and it can chip the metal on there, and then they're not going to work as efficiently. So just be careful of that. So two of the magnets come with it. So then, other than that, that's what comes along with it. The back is like a foam piece. So here are I guess we'll go with the pros. My pros so far have been, it works great. Also, I like that initially with the original Misti, I believe they had an issue where this grid line here, I don't know if you can see it with, let me see if I can put my hand there, see the grid? The grid is now etched into here. So where I think before with certain cleaners, the etch was coming off and then you no longer had a grid because it was printed on there, but now it's etched in there. So that's a plus. I like that. That would be a pro. The size is another pro for me. This is really small. I have a great size scrapbook room. In fact, when we were looking for houses, that was one of the requirements, is to have an appropriate room for Mel to have her scrapbook stuff, because originally, and my husband, like my old apartment, townhome, my crafting area was my dining room table, and we wanted to get rid of that. So although my husband like encouraged my hobby, it was kind of tough because we could still eat on the table, but then there would be scrapbook paper and things like all my crafts there. So it's very nice to have your own room to kind of just close the door when you're done and get back into your crafty mood rather than have to clean it all up and put it away each time. It kind of kills the mood for me anyway. So I like the size, how small this is, because even if you have a bunch of stuff piled up next to you, you can still use in your little area, where if this was a little larger, you'd have to scoot stuff out of the way. This is nice and compact. And generally, I'm only usually stamping a very small, here comes Miss Talia, I'm only usually stamping a very small area anyway. So for me, this works perfect. If you do a lot of stamping, like they're coming out, I believe, they're coming out with a 12 by 12 version. I personally don't really see the need for that. I mean, I guess if you had larger alphabet stamps, say, and you're writing, say, traditions or something really long, and you want to stamp it all at once. But for me, that's where I would use my standard traditional little block, and I'd go one by one, because I don't do that often. So for me, this works. So for someone else who has really, really large stamps, maybe those of you who do like your art journaling, I know some of those girl stamps are a lot larger, so you might need a bigger one. But for me, that was a pro. Now, going into the cons. So the cons for me are this ruler here, and I love that it's there. However, it's very it's a sticker, so it's kind of, I don't want to say cheesy, but it sort of is, and it's like not lined up right. Like this was already done. I didn't have to put mine on. I'm assuming that everyone that comes is, you might see Taya's little hands. So I'm assuming that everyone that comes, you know, is already on, but as you can see, it's like overlapping a little bit, and I don't like that. And you can also see like a lump here and a lump here as to where these two butt up to each other. So I worry with time, is the corners going to peel on them? Are they going to, you know, get kind of yucky looking? As like I said, this is an more on the expensive side tool, so you want it to be something that can last. Like this to me, and I talk about this all the time, now I try to buy things that I know I want to use, you know, at least more than once. So this would be, don't stick your hand in that ink. Yucky, yucky, yucky. I want it to be something that I can use, and you know, be like a staple in my, you can't open that, in my project. Look, she's going to try to open all these. So anyway, that's one con for me. Another con is these hinges. The hinges here, although I don't have a personal, ew, got inky fingers. I don't have a personal issue with them. Like I haven't had anything, you know, go wrong with them yet. I fear, like in the future, however, that these could possibly, you know, give out, and the fact that they're not, you know, screwed on hinges, they're just kind of glued ones. Why don't you get your bananas? Get your bananas. They're just kind of like glued on. So that's another one of my cons. So that's probably the only two there, and they haven't shown, you know, they haven't caused any problems yet. That's just something I'm wondering if in the future would, you know, could possibly be an issue. So let's get into it, and we're going to do a demonstration. Here you go, baby. Sorry, I just had to give Talia something. Okay, we're going to do a little demonstration and see how this works. So let's go ahead and use one of these. Are one of the new stamps I just got, so might as well go ahead and use them. These are from CC Designs, and they're called Surprise. This is their new April release, but let's go ahead and use this little girl here. So these are just clear photopolymer stamps. So when you're using one like this, you don't have to remove the little black cushion that I showed you, the foam piece, because that's actually going to act as a little more support when you're doing your stamping. So let's go ahead and you could put your magnet anywhere that's not going to get in the way of your stamp. So what you could do is, and the nice thing with this is you can play around, like say you had different patterns or you're trying to fit it, you can center it exactly where you want it. So let's just go ahead and do her here in case we want to do a die cut around it, so we leave some empty space. So you can kind of mess around and place her where you want to place her. Put the magnet, just not, obviously you wouldn't put the magnet here, or you know where you're going to put it, so just put the magnet out of the way somewhere. I thought at first that might get in the way, but it didn't. So then what you can do is close your door down and just kind of pick that up, and as you see, it picked it up on this other side. So then we're just going to ink her up, and what I'm going to do, I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black, you know, the infamous that you can use with the Copics. It's a really nice ink, dye-based ink. So I'm going to purposely not ink her up evenly all the way. So as you see, I'm going to ink her up real good on the top, and then I'm going to kind of skip her legs just to show for demonstration purposes. Now I got a little ink on here. I'm just going to wipe that off with my hand, and then so now I don't know if you can see, but I only kind of ink the top, and then what I'm going to do here is just come down and press evenly. So you can even see here that I purposely didn't get the ink down on her legs, but I'll show you why in a minute. So normally if you're stamping, you'd have your little clear block and you try to line it up where you want it, and then it's hard because the block could, you know, rock, where this one's, there's nowhere it can really rock to. So I think that's good. I pressed enough. You probably don't even have to press that hard. And oops, as you see, she is missing her legs. So that's where you can go back in and try again. So let's just go to her bottom half and we'll ink her back up really good here. So the image looks good everywhere else, so you don't really have to go all the way up to the top, but you can. And this is where you probably should use both magnets to make sure, because I have a kind of bent up, like my little scrap paper here is a little bent, so it is possible that it could have moved, but let's just hope it didn't. So now we're just going to come back over and try again, and we'll see how well it lined up. So we're doing this together, so we'll see, you know, whether this really works or not. Okay, so again, I'm just doing it really well. You probably don't even have to press that hard. And look, so she stamped perfectly. It lined up, and then you could just fix any mistakes. And I've done that plenty of times where I'm like, you know, you press and maybe her eyeball didn't come out or whatever the case may be. But this way, we got the image perfectly, and she's ready to be colored. So that's one really good thing in the Misti. A lot of you use, and I don't have any of these, I think Altenew is a company where they're like the rose building ones. I do have a Mama Elephant one. So where it does stamps and layering. So it might stamp one petal and you can do it in a soft rose color. Another petal, like the round, the edge of the petals can be in a darker color. So that's where this would be good too. So then you can get really exact and you can line it up exactly on your already stamped image where you want the next layer. Close it down and go on it. So, but I don't have any of those stamps besides the Mama Elephant one, and that one's not even really a petal stamp. So that was just an example of that. Another example, I want to show you, here's another one I stamped out with this. It works really well. And this is so I'll show you with this one. This is the Greeting Farm stamp. So it already has the cling on it. I didn't go ahead and trim it out. This is the teacher one. So what you would probably want to do with this, and I did it with and without, but probably you want to do it without only because if you leave that, and I'm just going to use, this is kind of a grungy piece of paper, but just a little scrap. If you use this with, let's see, if you use this with like a thicker one like this, if you use the foam that's underneath it, it might put some strain on the hinges, and we already discussed that that could be a potential problem. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just lay this down here. Again, pick up the door to pick it up, so nice and easy. And it looks like I just did this before that, so there's a little bit of ink on there, but again, no big deal because we can fix that. And let me just get my black ink, and we will ink her up again. Make sure we ink her really good. There we go. And I'm going to try to not press it down all the way. So just kind of, I'm just lightly pressing. And see how she didn't do too well? So again, here's where it can really help and get more precise stamping. So you could not decide to not ink it again, or you could. And I just gave her a little bit more ink, but she probably didn't even need it. I could probably just pull her over again and get the door. Get this out of my way. And then just press down really hard. So the hinges don't seem to be budging. They don't seem to be giving me any trouble. But that's, again, just a worry I have in the future with something that you made as an investment. But we shall see. So there you go. So now she came out better. So even though she was messed up, you can see she came out nice and even, and she can be colored. So thumbs up to that. And then here was the other one. Here's another one that I stamped originally, so it came out nice and pretty, and that's using regular clear ones and then some of your foam mounted ones. You just want to make sure you take out that back piece just so you're not putting any strain on the hinges. Again, see, I keep getting ink on here. I'm just wiping off with my hands, and then if you need to, just get a clean like cloth or clean rag and just wet it with water, and that's been fine for me. With the inks I'm using, which is Memento and some pigment inks and some dye-based inks. So far so good. I haven't had a trouble, and I'm not really fussing too much with that, but just be careful. You don't want to obviously use a cleaner that's going to mess you up. Okay, let's go ahead and keep that out. And then one last thing I want to show you. Here's another stamp here, and this one says, "Too much of a good thing can be wonderful." So this is similar to the stamp that I was looking for. It was like a fall one, and it said like, jump in the leaves, pumpkin patch, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to do different colors. just to show you what you can do with this too. So this is one of the thicker ones as well. And we're just going to put that on there. You could have put, like, you could do like we normally do. I don't know if this is going to cling too well. It doesn't seem like it, but we shall see. So let me put our paper down and let's get our magnet piece. Okay, so let's say we want it right there. And then, I don't know. Oh yeah, it clung to it. Okay, so now we're going to get a little fancier with this one. These aren't the best color inks, that may not show up too well, but we'll try it anyway. Let's see. So let's do the top one color. We'll do the top, hi honey. Let's do the top in Rosebud, and we'll see if it even picks up. It might not show up well, but we'll test it out. So sorry if my head is in the way, but I'm trying to keep it out of the camera. So let's stamp that up. I'm just going to leave that open on it like that. And then let's do the bottom in Paris Dusk, which is like a navy blue color. So we'll try to just keep it on the wonderful part. I'm just kind of rubbing it over, not being super neat with it. And we'll just get that inked up really well. And they say you can like huff on it, like breathe on it just to keep it moist, like right before you stamp it, because the other color. And it looks like a little bit of the blue got on the pink, but I think it could be cool. It could look a little ombre. So I just want to show, so then you could do this. And what would be good about this is if we don't get it all the way right, or we want to deepen another color or blend the ombre look a little more, like this, for this I mainly did the top one color and this a different color, but you could blend the two inks if they're, you know, inks that go together well. You could blend them both together to get more of an ombre. So see how cool that looks? So then this is supposed to be distressed like this. The stamp is actually like that, but let's just say you want to try to deepen it up. It's not going to change those little crackles, because as you see, like the stamp is actually like that. It's supposed to be, I guess, the distressed look. So then we can go in again and say you just want to accentuate or just deepen one of the colors. You don't, you know, you wish it came a little darker. You can go ahead and just try again. And there you have it. So you have your own little custom image that you made, you know, with your separate colors. And again, the stamp is actually like that, as you can see. So don't think that that wasn't the Misti's fault. That's how the stamp actually is. So it says, too much of a good thing can be wonderful. So that's fun. You can do that, and that's what would be a great thing. It would be even easier if it was a clear, not a rubber stamp, and you could see like where you're blending your colors. So you can kind of get creative and don't, you know, and not be scared to mess with your stamps, because if I had this on a block and then I'm trying to turn it, and then, you know, when you're trying to hold it with your block and you don't want to rock the one way and you want to push in the center, but then this one's cut really nicely, but sometimes, you know, you can get ink on the edge and then you get that little corner of ink. I hate that. So not to say that with this Misti that's impossible to still get that, but I think it just makes things a lot easier. And then this is the only tool you need, and you can have small stamps, you can have larger, you know, all the way up to this big size. I've even seen people stamp some, like use a bigger piece of paper, stamp some, and then move the paper up to still be able to use the smaller Misti. So I personally like this. I would give it a thumbs up. I've been using it, and again, it took me a little while to do this review because I wanted it to be something that I actually used to give, you know, a better opinion, and then kind of do a demonstration with you on here, because my reviews are honest. I'll tell you if I don't like it. You know, I'm not just going to say, you know, because a company sends me something, which this was purchased with my own money, and I'm just deciding to do a review on it. But other things, if it's something I don't like, I won't put it on here, just because, you know, that's not fair. Just because somebody sent it to you for free, if it's not a good product, it's not going to get shown on here. Or if I, you know, I'm not going to dog out a product either. I'm just going to say that I don't like it. So I do like this, however, and although it was a bit pricey, I wish the price wasn't so high, but I imagine it's probably costly to manufacture and to do the etching and such in there, and you have to be able to make a profit on it. So with all that being said, I'm happy with it. I give it a thumbs up. If it's something you're thinking about, maybe for Mother's Day you could ask for it, or because I know it's a little bit pricey, or like what I do with my husband, if there's something I'm, you know, saving up for, or something I want to get, I'll say, how about you just put towards my new Misti or something, and then that way they can put whatever towards it, and then maybe you could, if you have a little extra money saved up, you can put, you know, the extra towards it. But, you know, maybe you have a birthday coming up, this would be a great tool, because it's something that like the problem with stamps are, you know, this one I keep in my vault because Maya's going to have teachers, Talia's going to have teachers. You're always going to have teachers around that you can make a different project and color it up differently or paper piece differently. But there are some stamps that you're going to get sick of, you know, so then, you know, it was an investment, but then you might not want to use it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, you know, 10 times. Where, you know, some of my stamps I use a lot, and then some of them after I use once, I make a project, I pass it along on a D-stash. So there you have it. So for the mini Misty, I give it a thumbs up. Again, I don't have the cleaner. They recommend the cleaner for it, so that's up to your discretion. I'm not telling you not to get it. I just been keeping it playing it safe and just using, you know, plain old water, you know, and not using any harsh chemicals or cleaners on it, and mine's been just fine. So I love it. I think it's great. I've used it since I got it. I haven't used my stamp blocks since I purchased this. It's so nice and compact. You could take it with you on crops. This is about how thick it is. Sorry, my daughter's bumping the tripod. So yeah, so I give it a thumbs up, and I hope you guys stuck with me through this long video, but I just want to kind of get my points across and share with you what I liked and what I didn't like about it. And stay tuned for another video. I want to show you a few little projects that I made. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.